Ignite. CEDH.
Welcome to Ignite CDH. My name is Joseph.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Andrew.
And we had pretty much every one of us had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, I didn't get a tournament win, but I got a match win, so it's fine, I guess.
I did say pretty much. We're just three friends from Southern Ontario, just grinding CDH. We just want to talk about our experiences, our games, and relevant discussions about the community around here.
The three of us went to two tournaments. Kevin and I were at one, and Joe went to a bigger tournament for two dual lands, was it?
Yeah, so there was a dual land raffle. So anyone had a chance to win a Savannah, and then the winner takes a Tundra home. This is the biggest tournament in Southern Ontario. They've had 4 so far. Well, I've top 2 of them, so getting a good start.
That's not bad. How many people do they see out of that tournament?
The biggest one was 64. The smallest one was 44.
Okay, that's pretty good for, not that CDH isn't big in Southern Ontario, but it can be a struggle to recruit sometimes.
In the last year and a half, we went from seeing maybe one tournament a month to seeing pretty much a tournament every weekend. It's really grown really quickly, and it's a bit of a hike for a lot of people. I love the game. I love playing the game. You will see me pretty much multiple times a week playing Critical CDH League, jamming games whenever I can. And you get to meet so many different people. There's people who can't go to every single tournament.
So how did our round ones go? Should we jump into that?
Yeah, let's talk about our tournament.
Yeah.
I'm curious about yours. We weren't at it.
That's fair. Round 1 was my first win of the day. So this tournament had a lot of draws. It was a standard format, American format. It had every round pretty much had 4 to 7 draws. It was almost 50% draw percentage. My first round was very strong. So I'm playing Kenriff. My Kenriff is a turbo variant with very little to do with the creature combos of old. Very not trying to be mid-range. And I had a starting hand of Rograk, Cabal Ritual, Calling Ritual, Simian Spirit Guide, Intuition, and 2 lands.
Wow, it's a lot of mana.
It was a lot of mana and Intuition. So turn 1, I draw my card, and it's an Enlightened Tutor. I was just like, okay, end step Enlightened Tutor for Underworld Breach, and I just jammed, and I got the win super quickly. Underworld Breach, Intuition, and then LED combo for Brain Freeze.
Nice.
People were just put so off guard. I was in 3rd seat, just not prepared for seeing the 5 mana creature commander come out guns a-blazing.
They weren't prepared for the Turbo Kenrith.
Who is?
Yeah, that's kind of the point of playing against the meta sometimes.
Yeah, it's been really a year of mid-range hell, and then semi-recently, in the last couple of months, it's just been turbo decks kind of taking the format ablaze. How was your guys' tournament? I didn't hear much from you guys. What happened round 1?
Yeah, round 1 is the only round I won. I was actually in 4th seat too, which was pretty fun. I was playing Azami, a wizard control deck. So Azami is a 5 mana 0/2 wizard, 2 generic and 3 blue. Tap an untap wizard you control, draw a card. Simple enough. Play a bunch of wizards in it and draw a bunch of cards. And then the win lines typically revolve around Mind Over Matter. Mind Over Matter is a 6 mana enchantment. Lets you discard a card to tap or untap target artifact, creature, or land. So basically you tap a zombie, draw a card, discard a card, untap a zombie. You draw your deck and sculpt the hand that you want, and then you win the game. Normally it wins by infinite turn loops, but because of the tournament styles, where you can't technically do infinite turns when you're in time, and I'm playing a control deck that aims to go long, I did put a Thassa's Oracle in the deck, just so I could have an easy out if I went to time.
So what happened round 1?
It was actually, speaking of playing off meta decks, they didn't really know exactly how Mind Over Matter worked, so they let me resolve it, and then I start doing my thing. I did time it really well, where 2 of the players were tapped out. The 3rd player only had an LED, but he had just gone for a win, so I was pretty sure he didn't have any interaction. I untap, draw, play a Curse Catcher, which is a blue for a 1/1 wizard. You just sacrifice it and force spike something. Basic counter unless they pay 1 mana.
1 Merfolk Wizard.
Yeah. And so I play that, and then I play the Mind Over Matter. No one responds. I execute my combo. I start my loop, and that's when, like, we're in a tournament. I'm gonna tell them what the card does, but I'm not gonna point out that it lets me draw my deck. That's kind of derived, right? You figure that out. So the one guy says, "Oh well, if I wish I had known that, I would have countered it with this Force of Will." And then I pointed to the Curse Catcher, and he's like, "Well, I have this LED." I'm like, "But you would have been left on an empty hand." And he's like, "That's fair." So I don't think he was going to counter it because he knew he was spent.
That's like a place where you would offer a draw.
I don't think I would take a draw there, and we'll get into this later.
Yeah.
But like, I have one opponent who's empty-handed, and two opponents who just spent most or all of their interaction like fighting that guy. I'm just gonna sit there and draw my cards with the zombie and refill my hand, and then I'm gonna go for it again when I get the opportunity. But yeah, I draw the deck, and I basically got to the Thoracle and showed them the Thoracle, and they conceded. Yeah, but like you were talking about, the Brewers' advantage with your turbo deck, where they just didn't expect you to turbo off, in my deck, where they didn't realize how Mind Over Matter interacted with the zombie. I think that really, really helped me out there.
What about you, Andrew?
For me, round 1, there's Kefka seat 1. There's Kilo Apogee Mind in seat 2, the Edge of Eternity's commander. And then there's me on Blue Farm, and then the Wandering Minstrel seat 4. So, Wandering Minstrel's looking scary because he's holding up a lot of mana for Adnaz pretty much the whole game. Kefka gets Kefka, and he's looking good. I eventually tutor for Ristic Study, and that's on the board, and I'm just drawing cards, not much mana. But Kilo's he has this Polywog Prodigy. He's putting counters on it. He's looking threatening. The play of the game is Kefka's turn. He Pyroblasts the Polywog instead of my Ristic. When I had more cards in hand, definitely a misplay on Kefka's standpoint. The Kilo fights over it with a Force of Will, tries to defend it. To be fair, Kilo could probably win. He was looking threatening, but they use all their interaction. I draw Pyroblast at some point during that. Kefka tries to swing in, and he has some card to double up his triggers, and I just kill his Kefka. We fight over that. They're out of counterspells, and then I put an Intuition on the stack at the end of it and just go to my turn and breach. That was about it. It's just a slow game. Kilo Apogee Mind was actually pretty impressive that game and was in control of most of it. They were the dominating one drawing cards. I didn't expect that from that commander, but it actually did some work.
Nice. It's definitely a new commander. I don't think I've seen it before.
No, it's that Edge of Eternity's Precon one.
So round 2, I am sitting in seat 2. Flubs is seat 1, TNT to my left, and then Kinnan. I start off with an interesting hand. It turns into top decking a breach when I already had a brain freeze in hand. I'm looking at my board and I'm doing the math, and right now I don't have much blue on my board. I have pretty much one brain freeze to kind of find my outs. So I Rite of Flame on turn 3. TNT and Kinnan kind of get established. Flubs kind of gets blown out. And turn 3, I go Rite of Flame into Underworld Breach. Nobody has anything. I cast Rite of Flame again to gain an extra storm count. And then I try brain freezing myself. I have one red open. I have 3 outs that I can think of in my deck. I could either get an LED, an LED Lotus Petal, or a Gamble. Any one of those should win me the game. And it came out to about a 30% chance of hitting it. I didn't think I was going to get another turn, so I took the 30%, and unfortunately I missed. Ended up just casting Rite of Flame a couple more times and hitting a one ring to kind of try to see if I could stabilize, but a couple turns later I got blown out by TNT. Andrew?
My round 2, this is a short one here. I was seat 1 on Blue Farm. There was a Malcolm Timna seat 2, another Blue Farm seat 3, and a Magda player seat 4. Magda mulls down to like 5, but he does get a gemstone, so he has like 3 cards in hand. So I set up, I do a turn 1, I think it's a Lotho. This becomes important later, because Magda goes, plays Ancient Tomb with the gemstone, his other card, Magnus of the Moon. So we're all locked out. We go around like 2 turns. Malcolm Timnum plays 1 mana rock a turn or something. Magda casts Magda, it gets treasures. I go to my turn, I don't draw anything. It's just lands that are mountains, right? I do have a Mindbreak Trap and a Flusterstorm in hand though, which turns out to be important because on Malcolm Timnum's turn, they have the mana rocks. They cast a Thassa's Oracle. No responses. He then casts a Demonic Consultation with the treasure. I show a Flusterstorm and ask for the draw. The other Blue Farm player's happy with it. Magda's doesn't want it. Malcolm Timn is thinking, I have all the treasures. I don't know if I want to take the draw. And I'm like, I point at Magnus thing, he'll have 5 treasures and activation on his turn. Magnus like, I don't have the artifact dwarf. I'm like, even a guard pharaoh statue, anything, like, Magnus gonna run away with this. And then we just got the draw. So I was pretty happy with that, because that turn one, it was rough.
Well, I mean, at least you got a draw out of it. Like, that's
Yeah.
not bad.
And I was happy with that, like, because I was sitting with 1 win and a draw at that point. I thought that was pretty good. It was a funky tournament, though, with buys, right? Like, so,
Yeah, there was a bye each round, and then it was a cut to top 4, which means you needed to beat all the buys, basically. 11 points was the cutoff for... So that's 2 wins and a draw to make the top table, which is crazy.
Wait until you hear the top cut for me.
My round 2, I was in C1. I actually had really good seating in this tournament, which is funny because I didn't do well. I took seat 4 to the win, and then I was seat 1 or 2 most of the rest of the tournament, and I didn't even scratch
three
it.
seat 4s and 1 seat 1.
Wow.
And my only seat 1 was a draw.
So yeah, my round 2, I lost. I took a mulligan to 6. I probably could have kept one of my 7s, but I kind of wanted to find something a little better. It had interaction, but didn't have any easy way to card draw or advantage or any ramp. So you kind of, when you're playing a zombie, because I haven't played it a lot, I just read through the primer, and you're looking for card draw first, interaction, and then ramp, and you want at least 2 of those 3 in an opener. So I stayed on probably a worse 6 overall to have 2 of those 3, but I just never ended up getting there. There was a point I also made a mistake in this one. It was myself in seat 1, Blue Farm in seat 2, Kilo, that deck that you were talking about, in seat 3, and then seat 4 was another Blue Farm. And I was going after obviously the last Blue Farm player, and he runs out of gas trying to win. We fight it off, and then he puts a last chance on the stack, which is basically like a final fortune. Extra turn, and you lose the game if you don't win. And I had a counterspell in hand for it. Web slinging, I think it is. It's from the new set. You can either pay 2 mana or pay 1 mana and bounce a creature to your hand to counter target instant sorcery or triggered ability. And I decided to let it go because I thought he had enough to catch the guy on his extra turn, and then he would just lose the game. And that's good. That's one less player I have to contend with. I was incorrect. He had a crazy good hand. And we didn't get there. So that loss is partially on me. I made the wrong read there, but well, I mean, also can't control anything, right? Part of playing control in a 4-player game where all your interaction puts you down cards compared to your opponents is you need to pick your spots. And I thought I could pick my spot a little bit better. Turns out I made a mistake.
Fair enough. So my round 3, going into round 3 here, wrong Scion to play. Terra next, Blue Farm, and then me. So I kept a hand, and it was 2 black lands and a Necro. And I'm like, turn 3 Necro isn't bad. The rest of the hand didn't really do much, to be honest with you. I think I had a Force of Will, but no second blue card. I had just a ton of pretty much just lousy hands. I think I mauled to 6, and I'm just gambling here that I get a mana source in the next 2 draws. I top decked a Lotus Petal. I looked at my hand and I just slammed down this Necro. Not really thinking that, hey, this could really do anything, but I was going to get locked out by wrong side if I don't go for it now. I did not think I really had any other opening. So I slammed down Necro and Necro for 34. I had at least a Mox Opal in my hand. If I could find a couple rocks and a way to either take another turn or my Born Upon the Wind, I can maybe put something on the stack here. So I look at my hand, I immediately slam down my Born Upon the Wind. I get countered. Someone puts a red Elemental Blast. I know the wrong side is not sitting on any counter magic. He's sitting on redirection spells. I think he has a deflecting swat and a misdirection in hand. So I'm very limited on my fighting potential here. And I decide to offer I can't refuse my Born Upon a Wind to get 2 treasures. The wrong side was okay, no, I don't have an issue with that. My friend who's playing the Blue Farm player, who REB'd my Born, looks at me and asks me am I going to win this turn? I look him straight in the eyes and say, I'm not going to win this turn. The offer you can't refuse resolves, and I slam down a Final Fortune.
How do you feel about that?
They just laughed, and I had no more mana available to me. I was tapped out. I basically, I don't even think the hand could win at this point with needing to discard a lot of it. But I was definitely going to try. And my friend looks at me, and I'm like studying my hand, trying to plan out what I could possibly do, knowing that there's 2 misdirection spells and at least 1 more counter spell on his end. He looks at me. He does not have the mana to pay, but he offers a draw with a pact and negation. And I'm like, I'd take that draw at that point. Like, I'm 1-1-1 at the, going out of the round 3, and I was like, take a draw. Most of the time it will be fine, but I was going to lose that game most likely from what I can see, what I knew about. So I was happy with the draw there.
I think I would have pushed back there and said, like, you're going to counter my thing, you'll lose the game, and then we'll just keep playing without you, and you'll get a loss anyway.
The issue is I had no pieces of interaction, and all my combos required me to target myself in some way or form. Or the only piece of interaction I really had was 1 piece of counter magic, and it was pretty bad. I would have had to like diabolic intent and try to fight a counter war, or I just died to find my final fortune. So I didn't really have a way out of it. Now, there is probably a thing, it's like, maybe I don't go there, but with Wrong Side, he slammed down a Ristic the turn before and was about to Mirror Maid. He verbally that he was going to Mirror Maid his Ristic. So he was going to go to turn 4 having double Ristic. I didn't see another opening, to be honest.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
don't know how much interaction that deck runs or anything to.
Wrong Side is like one of the most ridiculous control decks I've ever seen. There's
Oh, it's
also
a
like
control deck. I'm thinking just turbo still. Okay.
no, it's a full control deck. Logan from Critical EDH kind of spear fronted the deck, saying Grixis is the best colors regardless if you're trying to turbo.
He's probably right.
I don't know why you'd want to give up white though. I love white for silence effects, but yeah.
Honestly, my deck is not. My deck is playing silence. That's the only silence effect that I have. The double pips for Ranger Captain and Grand Abolisher in a 5-color turbo deck just does not work. It's not worth fetching a white source.
That Orum's charm. I've been thinking about.
I'm thinking about putting Orm's Charm. I'm also going to be playtesting a defense grid instead of playing a One Ring. I think One Ring is actually a bait at this point. It's just never felt good, especially when I'm trying to win on turn 2 or 3.
It's not much of a turbo card. It'll help a turbo deck reload if they whiff, or if they get, like, fight out or something, but it's not, unless you're tapping and untapping it, it's not going to draw you, like, the 10 cards you need in a turn.
Yeah. So, at the end of round 3, I'm, like, looking at the standings, and I'm like, there's 4 people that have 2 wins at this point. Everybody else has either 1 win or a couple draws. We looked at the standings, there was 44 players, and this point spread was so deep. It was going from 1 to 33 before you hit the first person that had 0 points.
Wow. So all those people are pretty much in the running.
Yeah, I'm like looking at it. At the end of round 3, I was like, I don't think 10 points is the cutoff. I'm thinking it could be 7, maybe 8.
Yeah.
And I'm already at 6. Like, I just need to maybe get a draw here. Definitely push for a win, but maybe get a draw. Maybe I'll get in.
Nice.
Andrew?
Well, round 3.
This is both of us.
Yeah, I'm with Kevin here. Kevin is a zombie seat 1. There's a Rogsai seat 2. Rogsai has a heck of a turn 1. Then there's Marchesa. And then there's me on Blue Farm, seat 4. So I guess Rogsai's turn 1. He gets a lot of mana, right? He ends up.
So he had a lot of mana, but none of it was, like, sticking around. It wasn't like he was playing rocks into rocks. It was, I think, a ritual and a...
Simian Spirit Guide, maybe?
Ritual, Simian Spirit Guide, maybe, and a Lotus Petal.
It must be a dark.
He diabolic for...
I think he made a mistake, I think, on his diabolic. Instead of going for a Ristic study, because he has the 3 mana floating. He could get Ristic or a wheel, and he decides to go for a wheel. It didn't matter anyways because Kevin
Yeah.
had. What did you have?
Well, he cast 3 spells, and I had a Mind Break trap. So once he started ramping, it didn't matter what he cast, I was going to counter it. He tutors and grabs a Time Twister, and it did give me pause because normally Time Twister is threatening for I had already gone. I didn't develop my board, I don't think at all, but
No,
I
just
played a land and passed. Yeah, so I considered letting it resolve only because he didn't have any additional ramp or like it's not like if he untaps he was gonna have a Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, or something to work with. He had like if he didn't draw any free mana, it was just passed after the wheel. But I kind of like the interaction in my hand. I decided to counter it. Whether or not I should have let it like roll the dice and let like you two just could have drawn no lands. Like I don't know how many lands the control deck plays, but you probably only played 28 or 29.
28. I was on my second 7 and it wasn't a good 7. I would have been in a better spot because as the game progresses, my hand, as you know, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I don't do anything. I just didn't want the Rogside player to refill his hand.
Yeah.
Like by that one Mindbreak trap, you pretty much you did take him out of the game.
And that was the other part of it for me, is I know I pretty much take him out of the game. He's just top decking for the rest of the game.
Except he has this one card called Daze, and it scares this player who was in the lead. He holds it over his head for a while.
The crap out of the Marchesa player. And
And
I don't
he
know
has,
why.
like,
Marchesa had the most
5
mana.
treasures all the time. He's that Daze was.
Until like the end of the game when he finally had to tap out, he had treasures up the entire game. He could.
I guess we didn't know what the Daze was until later, but he was holding this over her head that he had a counterspell for a long time.
Yeah, he politics it really well. It made it a little scary to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Tongue Twister even in Rogside, or is that a deck building mistake? Like, I don't think that goes in any breach deck.
No, it's fine. It probably has a loop if you get like some sort of infinite draw. It might not. I might need to check.
It depends. I've seen it in some decks. Most of the time, it's not.
But like part of the bonus of playing it is sometimes you go like land, Soul Ring, Lotus Petal, Wheel, and you have a land and a Soul Ring and whatever else you develop that turn, and everybody else is taking a fresh 7 that you can't mulligan.
Yeah.
So that's the thought behind playing it. Is it might not help you win the game quicker in Rockside, but it will make everybody else slower.
Yeah. Now, imagine if, Kevin, if you would have, cast a Soul Ring or something, like a little more, develop your board, use some pieces, you might have let it go to refill your hand too. But
Yeah, my deck doesn't turbo out too much, but obviously, like any CDH deck can just go like Mox Diamond, land, Soul Ring, and then have 2 cards in hand, and you want a wheel.
after that, though, I get stuck on 2 lands for a while.
You were stuck at 2
Marchesa-
lands for almost the whole game.
Pretty much the whole game. Yeah, and this is really bad because Kevin has this Patron Wizard, is it? So you can tap
Patron
him.
Wizard, yeah. So it's 3 blue mana. Similar to a zombie, it has a tap ability for wizards. Tap an untap wizard you control. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1 mana.
And I don't have much mana. This whole
He
game
doesn't
I
have
like
much
to
mana.
play.
Yeah, so there was a point I play the Patron Wizard. It gets around to your turn, and you cast the Archivist right before your turn, I think.
That's another thing because it's extra scary for me because, I'm hoping Kevin caps his wizards before it gets to my turn because I'm last in seed order. So, if nothing else is done, he's just going to counter my stuff. And Marchesa has developed the most.
Marchesa had so much. There was no way I was countering anything for Marchesa, and this Rockside player wasn't doing anything.
He wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
And Marchesa had these treasure makers, and it was a lot. He's making these treasures, and then with Marchesa out on the field, when he makes a treasure, he could pay 1 to look at the top 2 and put 1 into his hand cards, right? So he's getting
Yeah.
card advantage.
That's Marchesa, yeah. So
Marchesa.
He had his commander out, and he had the new Urbrask too, the one that gives you a mana when you cast an instant or sorcery.
What actually later is it helps.
Pivotal, yeah.
On my turn, after I flash out the imposter mech in response to I think that Urbrask, kind of hoping seeing what happens because I'm thinking I got to get this out now, see what Kevin does. Kevin's also he's drawing cards with his zombie, so he doesn't want to counter stuff to pay mana. Rather draw.
Yeah, that was the argument because I had a zombie out, and my thought was I can counter your Archivist, and you might lose out on a few draws, or I can just tap and draw a card and see what I get. That decision came up a couple times.
That Archivist doesn't draw me any cards by itself, but later I eventually get Timmed out, and it gets a couple of attacks in.
Yeah.
There's not a single tutor in there. There's a mono blue, the Rogsai who does nothing, and Marchesa just doesn't play fetch. No fetch lands came out. There's not a single tutor. But what I do is it ends up being, I thought a misplay, but it ends up working okay. I have an imposter mech. I play it. I was holding it in my hand for a while thinking Marchesa is going to play a Bowmasters. He does after I've played my imposter mech on my turn. So I play imposter mech thinking I could get an Azami, but it won't work. So I have to get the.
Yeah, because you thought you could tap it to draw a card because it's a vehicle. It doesn't have the wizard typing until you crew it, so you need to like tap 3 to crew it and then tap it to draw a card.
And all I have is that 2/2 Archivist that's
Yeah.
out there. And so I make that Urbrask. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, you make a red. It does help my mana later. So yeah, then a Bowmaster comes out, and I think we go around.
Bowmaster is basically the anti-Azami card.
Yeah.
I did end up tide binding it. Unfortunately, I didn't realize it a couple triggers prior. Not that it made a big difference, but if I had tide binded it earlier, then I could have been drawing a couple more cards. But it is what it is. I'm new to the deck, so I'm gonna make some mistakes like that.
And Kevin and I, because the next turn cycle, the Bowmaster sticks a while, but no one's really drawing cards. I do get a Timna out, and I have a Deflecting Swat in hand. My next turn, I hit my other land. So I swing, we're showing each other interaction, because Marchesa is just dominating the board at this point. Because what one went off? You showed the Tidebinder, and I showed you the SWAT, right? Or something. We teamed up a couple times trying to stop him.
Yeah, he went away for a judge call, and you wanted to force a draw.
Yeah, I was playing for a draw here, and same with the Rogside player at this point, because we're way
I
behind.
wasn't at that point. Partially because I want to see how the deck plays out. Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. And, like, I don't think we were necessarily I don't think we had enough interaction to force a draw from Marchesa. It turns out we probably could have, based on how the game played out, but I didn't think we had enough interaction at that point.
No, and Marchesa was not interested in a draw at all.
No,
It
0%.
was a dominating spot. He must have got bad looks off the top or something. I don't know what because he showed a SWAT. I forget if he swatted your Tidebinder.
He
or
thought
my
about swatting the Tidebinder because the Marchesa trigger was on the stack at the same time. Because he targets me, and then that triggers the Marchesa right away.
And your Tidebinder still goes off on his Bowmasters.
Yeah, he didn't stop that, which was really surprising. I thought he was going to.
He showed the SWAT. I don't know what happened to it. Anyways, we do that, and I'm still low mana. I'm looking for a draw. Kevin, you're going pretty good.
I had the win in hand if it got back. I'm just spacing out my draws. Because I had Patron Wizard, I want to hold up the Patron Wizard as long as I can.
When this is important because Marchesa does have a curse totem. He was talking about.
He was talking about having a curse totem, and then eventually did play it.
He untaps no Marchesa, but he immediately casts him. And he has like 8 treasures I'm looking at. Like, I'm happy to cast Marchesa. I was thinking Underworld Breach or just Thasses, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how he wins in that deck. It might just be a Oracle combo.
I've lost Historical.
It's just
I've lost
versus
Breach.
good stuff, right?
And Valley Floodcaller lines. Because it
Yeah.
targets infinite. He can do that, infinite mana, and then he starts targeting.
Yeah.
So he has the win condition, just doesn't hit them. He's all control in the game. He's making treasures. I'm getting very low on life. So
Your
he
life
passes-
level became relevant. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because he swings at me. I think I go down to 10 life. Oh, yeah. Another thing that's going on this whole game. This is important to talk about because he has this Glasses of Urza with Marchesa and life. This is actually very, very key. This has been going on like since turn 1. So he's looking at people's hands. So he looks at my hand a couple times. So right at the very start of the game, my hand, this is what some of the gas is. So we're looking at a Final Fortune. I have that from like opening hand, an Underworld Breach, a Demonic Consultation, and I don't know what else was in there.
Yeah, you had like almost entirely 2 drops too, because I remember thinking that you could play pretty much your whole hand.
A Diabolic Intent, I think, was in there. There's some counter spells. I remember like a Misstep maybe. I don't know. So anyways, he's looking at hands, and I decide I don't know what's right here. Joe, so Marchesa's in the lead.
Play. Yeah.
He wants to look. He asked to look at my hand turn 1. This is like, or maybe turn 2, right? Whatever. And I said, "Can I just reveal to the table?" And he's like, "Sure." So instead of just giving him the knowledge of what's in my hand, I just let everyone know what's in my hand.
Yeah, you revealed your hand to the table. So what was your thinking behind it?
I was thinking Marchesa was already in the lead. I didn't want to have him get even more advantage by him being the only one that knows what's in my hand. Because my hand was pretty dangerous if I ever got mana with a Breach, a Final Fortune, and a Diabolic Intent and Demonic Consultation. Like, it's that's ready to win. Just missing some pieces. I didn't want him to know that, and I wanted everyone else to know.
Yeah, that's I've never done that before. I could see the merit because there's definitely a world where, let's say we get in a counterspell war later and you don't reveal your hand to everyone, and he's like, "Oh, he's got a deflecting swat. Don't use your counter magic here." And then I'm like, I call his bluff, right? And I'm like, "Nah, Andrew, use your deflecting swat." And you're like, "I don't have a deflecting swat." And then
Yes,
right?
yeah.
So it gives him a lot of politicking power, and we should say this player is very good at politicking. I think I remember sitting down at the table and saying, "Okay, so we're all not going to listen to him, and we're all going to up our win percentage, right?" And everyone kind of laughed because we all know it's true. This guy just he's a good player.
One of the best players in Ontario. I'm making that statement. He has one of the most consistent win percentages at our tournaments that we see him at.
We only really see him at that tournament, though.
Yeah, but he is renowned in his area. He lives in Windsor. In his field, he is really, really good. Like, is the top player. He wins a lot of our tournaments. If he played more, he would be destroying.
I agree he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player, yeah.
So what's your take on that, Joseph? Would you reveal your entire hand if one player was looking at it?
It's really circumstantial. Honestly, it's really tough to say because I have definitely shared information. I never shared a whole hand before.
Yeah, you share information when it's advantageous to you. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's also knowledge is power, and you're trying to take away the power of that player who is in the well lead, right? Like, if he's going to look at your hand, I've been in circumstances where I do show the rest of my teammates my hand because it's like, well, here is what I can do. Yes, my hand is scary, but we lose right now.
That's another thing of it. I'm much more likely to show my hand when I'm in a losing position, like to someone
everybody is.
winning. It's like, because I was like right from the start, I was looking for a draw with that hand. Like it was, yeah. Because I think around that time I had a Timna, 3 lands maybe now, an Archivist, and I think the Imposter Mech. That was the Urbrask.
We get around to your, I don't know what turn it was, but I had Patron Wizard, Tidebinder, and Azami all tapped because the Marchesa player had played the Cursed Totem. And we get to your turn. What was your thought process like here?
Oh, I'm at 10 life, and it's just getting swung at. So
you were at 10 life, you were being swung at, and there was a Mayhem Devil on the battlefield.
Yeah, with like 5 treasures. I'm not getting another turn. Like, whatever I have to do, I have this Final Fortune in my hand with nowhere to protect it. So either I'm going to go all in now, or I'm going to have to Final Fortune on someone's end step. I can't get to Marchesa's turn, because I don't live through that. Rogsai also wants a draw. So I'm kind of asking, can I get a win on the stack here, and we'll just take a draw? Kind of hoping someone else would defend the breach, and then we just draw it, right? So I don't think I'm going to make it. Anyways, everyone's declines it. There is a vexing bauble at the table.
Rogsai was for the draw.
Yeah.
I declined because I had it on my turn. I had the Mind Over Matter and enough cards to pitch. And later in the turn, we can discuss this play too, but the Marchesa player kills my Azami instead of doming you for 2 more life.
Yeah, my life is very close.
It didn't,
There's a vexing
end up
bauble
getting
too.
down that far. But he chose, he knew my hand, he'd seen it. It took me a minute to realize because I had a Soul Ring out, I still had the win through him killing Azami. If I had said that initially, he probably just would have gone to your face. But I didn't realize it until afterwards when I started counting mana. So yeah, he got you down to 4 life, I think.
He does. Yeah, so what I do is I swing with Timna, look for counterspells, don't hit it. I Diabolic Intent my Archivist, make a red. We're debating what to search for, hoping to get a draw, right? Okay, no one gets a draw. So I can't even go down. I'm trying to figure out what I'm tutoring for, if I can go through the LED loop with Mayhem Devil out on the board. Well, I had a Flood.
You weren't able to go through. I had a Flood Maw.
I had a Flood Maw in my graveyard and a Psych Rift. So I did bounce some stuff,
yeah.
Right? So I was using 2 drops to kind of slow down Marchesa throughout this game.
Yeah.
But it would have been close, right? Especially because I have no counter. So anyways, I decide on Thassa's Oracle because no one's going for a draw. With the Vexing Bauble, I think maybe I can squeeze it through. So I do that. I guess after that I have my red. I try to Final Fortune. Kind of expect it to get countered, but that's going to make me a red and kind of replace itself because I'm really short mana. Final Fortune goes through, and then I go to my Final Fortune turn. I'm low. I just put Thassa's Oracle in the stack. Vexing Bauble gets cracked.
Yes, yeah.
He mental missteps my thing. So I'm looking at one of my lands is a pain land. That can hurt me. A City of Brass. And my 2 counters in hand with the Mayhem Devil are a mental misstep when you're sitting with 4 life, which I don't want to pay 2, and my 1 land would help me. I still have to use the 1 for demonic consultation. My other counter is a offer you can't refuse. So I don't want to give treasures to
You don't want to give treasures to anybody, yeah. Well,
counter
then we just
spells
kill you.
and a mayhem devil. Yeah, so I'm thinking these are the worst 2 cards in my hand. But anyways, I pay the 1 life for the misstep, and no one has any other interaction, and I demonic consultation.
Yeah, you got it. You pulled it out. You even offered a draw with like the win on the stack. Library empty, you offer the draw, and he still didn't want to take it. Which is like, I get not wanting to be bullied into a draw from a power position. But the other player who wanted the draw still tried to counter your spell.
Yeah.
We weren't just letting you have it. I had nothing. Like I had tools to go for a win on my turn, but I didn't have any interaction. I don't know if you don't like, because this came up in a league game I played Friday, I think, and another player silenced me on another player's winning turn. I was playing Azami, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, he's going to win. I'm telling you, I'm not going to draw. He's going to win, or you might lose on my turn. You might. I don't think I necessarily had it, but they were all scared because I was playing Azami. I did have a lot of control over things, but he still chose to feed the other player the game, and I'm like, I'm not going to let you just bully me into a draw. So I'm going to take the loss here. And you know what happened out of it? I lost points in the standings. I played another game, and then I went on with my life. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. These guys are like freaking out like it was a huge deal. Anyway, that's to say the 2 situations are somewhat different where I legitimately had a win. I'm not sure if he actually did or not. It was but one where like someone else is putting a win on the stack, and I'm telling you I don't have a win, and you're still forcing that player through. Like, at that point, you're borderline king making.
And one thing he did do, which I thought was interesting, is he cracked some treasures in response to my diabolic intent, I forgot to mention, to flash out opposition agent. Instead of shooting me in my face when he cracked those treasures to pay for oppo agent, he killed Azami.
Yeah.
Your commanders, which I was happy about. I wasn't going to say anything, but when I'm getting down to like 4 or 5 life.
Yeah, I think I voiced that too. I think I even said that. Like, I think you were at like 5 life at that, 5 or 6 life. I'm like, if you go face here, like, you might be able to kill him, and he decided to kill my Azami instead.
And I psych riffed his opposition agent once it comes down, like once it landed. And that gives me, from the Urbrask, from the red, I couldn't have done this without Urbrask. The 2 red, I think, later for the Final Fortune. That Urbrask from this game actually really makes me want to play test VV in Blue Farm. I was really impressed. I couldn't have won that.
VV, I could see VV being really good in Blue Farm, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people kind of been playtesting Stormkiln Artists as well in Blue Farm.
Is that 4 mana?
It
It
is
is 4 mana, but it triggers on every copy as well. So your Storm triggers can really add up to extra treasures.
I'm kind of a slower player generally, unless I have to, go all in like this. Like, so the VV, I think, value every turn, and just getting a couple mana might, I don't know. I'm going to play test it. I might take out my Mayhem Devil. I haven't casted it in any of these tournaments. I haven't even seen it. Joe, what's your round 4?
Round 4 is me, Rogthrash, Elsha, and Godo. I keep a hand where it's like an early Rhystic and really just trying to stop Godo from just popping off. And the rest of the hand was kind of very meh. I've already mulled down to 4 or 5 at this point. So I was happy with a turn 2 Rhystic and trying to just kind of keep up pace. Rogthras and Elsha kind of get off to like a decent start, and then Godo tries to land a Treasonous Ogre. I have to use like one of my pieces of interaction, my Mindbreak Trap, on it, because you just can't let him have Treasonous Ogre when he's just trying to count to 11.
Mm-hmm.
I blow him out. I'm down to like really just a Rhystic Study pass. I Vamp Tutor on my upkeep to try to find a win, but I'm literally just like 1 mana off of Thoracle Consult. So I passed a turn going through turn 3. I have a guaranteed win on turn 4 with what's in my hand, and Rogthras, knowing that I tutored past, was looking at me, was like, this is my last turn, and just kind of popped off. And to the point where he pretty much put into a spot where he put a win on the stack. And Elsha was like, I can stop you now with knowing that Kenrith has a win in hand, or we can call a draw. And I'm sitting there like I'm about to lose to Rogthras, nothing to do with it. There is like a very good chance that Elsha, if they just have a Savines, they Gifts Ungiven already Underworld Breach and LED into their bin. So they would have a win if they have a Savines in hand, and that's a very strong possibility. We decided to go for a draw because Elsha was able to blow out the Rogthras player and Rogthras, and they couldn't kind of gamble on letting somebody else win. So I ended up, after round 4, with 2 draws and a win so far. 7 points, and I'm looking at the stats, and I'm like, I think with another draw, I'm locked. Like, it was a sketchy coin flip. It came out to being like a sketchy coin flip. I'm talking to some other 7-pointers, and we were thinking we're likely going to get paired together, and there would be 4, 5, 8-pointers at most next round, and it's basically one of us won't get in if that's the case. Mm-hmm. So do I play? If I lose, I 100% don't make it in. If I win, I 100% make it in. Or if I take a draw, I have a 80% making it in from my calculations. So we all decide to take the draw. We're all going to take the coin flip. If I'm like ready to go home anyway, I sat out most of the games. And my round 5 was just literally a draw. ID and gamble, see if we make it. I came 15th, made it into top.
Nice.
16.
Nice. Excellent.
No, I came 14th, made it into top 16.
Still.
My breakers were really good.
You made it. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah. With 1 win. That's how many draws there was. Mm-hmm. I think, like I said, at the end of round 3, at the end of round 4, there was, I think, 4 players that didn't have a win. And that's because they went home.
So, how'd your round go, Andrew?
Round 4, there's the goblin who plays stuff from the graveyard from Spider-Man. Flip Goblin. I don't know his name.
Green Goblin, Norman Osborn.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, okay. Seat 1's Blue Farm, then Goblin, then Stella, then me. It's a grindy game. There's 2 heuristics in play. I blow one of them up. I don't have one. I have a Polywog that's been drawing cards. There's a Wish Claw the Green Goblin played, but it's funny because Stella Regavan exiles his LED that he wanted from the top. Because that's nuts. You discard your hand, you cast Green Goblin, you play them all for cheaper. One of the plays in the game, Blue Farm, has the Wish Claw gets passed to him. Yeah, everyone used the Wish Claw except me. I don't get it.
Well, nobody likes you. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's very personal.
I've controlled the game. I'm just trying to survive. Whoever's getting ahead, it goes a while. The C1 Blue Farm, Imperial Seals. So he puts the card on top, and then he wanted to go for win temp, but forgot the cards on top. He had already attacked with his Timna, and then he doesn't want to mess it up with his Wish Claw. So then I point out, you have no blockers. The Stella's going to get that card with your Regavan. You should just Wish Claw and that's the end of it, right?
Yeah.
His end step. And he's like, okay. So he kind of took himself out of the game in that play, a lot of it, because everyone's getting close to winning. Green Goblin's turn, he goes for a Rain of Filth line. I have a Ranger Captain out. I just crack the Ranger Captain when I see Rain of Filth comes out. I ask him, is he going to win? Because Stella has a heuristic, right? So I really want to keep Ranger Captain for that. But no, I can tell from look, he doesn't give me an answer. He's like, you don't cast Rain of Filth if you're not going for it, so I crack it before he gets anywhere in there, right? We go to Stella's turn, and he doesn't push. He regrets it at the end. He could probably win. He was afraid I had a lot of interaction because I had drawn some cards off Polywog. I think I have an Esper from the Ranger Captain, so I'd drawn a bit. I'm done with interaction because Goblin, we fought over some stuff earlier. I have nothing. But if it gets to my turn, I just slam like a Grand Abolish or a Voice of Victory or something. So, anyway, Stella was afraid of that, doesn't push, regrets it. He totally could have won if he did. It goes to my turn, and I just Grand Abolish her and then just breach.
Yeah. CDH in general, but especially Stella. Like, I played Stella for probably 6 months, the first 6 months I knew you guys. And you really got to be able to pick your spots well. I threw winning a tournament because I thought someone would have a counterspell in hand and didn't. And I talked to them afterwards. They're like, yeah, you had like the all clear, you could have gone for it. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? I missed that time. But you really got to pick your spots well.
Yeah, that was my round 4. It was just a long game.
My round 4, Ral on basically Ruby Storm was in seat 1. Seat 2 is Kefka. I'm seat 3 on Azami. And seat 4 is Blue Farm. Blue Farm player, I think, mulligans. Ruby, Storm, like I know obviously Ral is like a Storm deck. He's going to go for it in the early turns. Sure as this guy is blue. He goes for it on turn 2, I think. And between myself and Kefka, we're able to fight it off. He's a control deck, I'm a control deck. Right. And then I started getting focused, which was really surprising for me. Things kind of went around pretty docile a couple turns. The blue farm player notably played a ranger captain, and I think they had an Esper, some other white spell. It eventually died, but he had the Ranger Captain, which Ranger Captain basically just keeps kind of like in response to the Rain of Filth. You can do it in response to Ral trying to go off, and it ends their turn immediately. I don't think they push a second time. But we get to my turn, and I've like drawn a few cards. I wasn't in a super threatening position. I had a turn 1 Mystic Remora. That's what I drew a bunch of cards off. And I let that die because we have the Ranger Captain, and I plan on casting a zombie that turn. Now, the blue farm player knows that Ranger Captain now is the thing holding the combo player back because my Mystic's gone. I can't keep paying for Mystic for like the rest of the game. That's insane. So I have my Azami on the stack, and he puts a Force of Will on the stack. And I wish I had worded it like this in the moment. I didn't. I just kind of asked him, "Are you serious?" I did it a little nicer than that. It was a heated game, though. But like I had just been attacked out of the blue farm deck and the deck that takes the damage on half of the instance it casts, and I don't use my life total at all. So like, I mean, I'll take the attack. And I asked him, like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yes, for sure." I'm like, "Okay, settle down there." Like everyone in that game was a little testy. I had to we all kind of had to like calm down at some point. Anyway, the zombie on the stack, and then the blue farm player counters it. Basically leaving only one shield up for this combo player. And for me, it comes down to like, if he had a bunch more counter spells in his hand, that's fine. You can make that play. But if that's
a misplay, really, he's throwing the game with that.
It's the only thing he has. Like now we only have one thing stopping, and I have no way to draw cards, and no one else has a way to draw cards, and we have one thing stopping the combo player from going off. I try to get him not to. He's dead set on countering it. I'm like, all right, fine, it's countered. I think I just passed turn. He doesn't do anything noteworthy on his turn, and on his end step, Ranger Captain gets bounced by the Ral player. We lose to the Ral player in like a 25-minute combo turn. That's when I had time to think about it. I bring up to the blue farm player like, "Hey, like, if you don't counter my zombie there, I think we win, because I had a Fierce in hand, and you had a counter spell. We would have been able to fight over this snap." And he's like, "I'm fine with my decision. I think I did the right thing." And I'm like, we lost the game. You did not do the right thing. But I said that in my head. I'm like, all right, well, I can't help you any more than I just did. Like, you have a combo player right after you and a control player who's very far away from winning the game, who's not like, he just wants to draw cards and stop other players from winning. Unless you're winning, unless you're going to be the player he stops winning, you let the control player resolve the draw thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
We lost that. I had a chance of the winning in. If I had won, I would have needed good breakers. The guy who won our pod ends up making it and plays you in the finals. Yeah.
Yeah. So just a quick comment on round 5. I'm glad I took a draw. It was literally me with 3 Kinnons. It was not a good pod. It was not going to be a fun pod. Going into top 16, I'm last seat. Like, I'm not super shocked by that. It is Kinnon, Rogsai, Magda, and then me. Rogsai had a horrific mull to 3 and still found very little. Kinnon kind of just got off to a very strong start with kind of just playing out 7 mana and then casting a fish. And then it gets to Magda, and Magda puts out a Vexing Bauble turn 1, and I'm looking at my hand, and I literally have Mox Diamond, Ancient Tomb, Starting Town, and Rhystic Study. And I'm like, my turn 1 Rhystic just turned into turn 2. I can live with that. That's not like a huge ordeal. So I just play land, play, I think, a Ignoble Hierarch, and then pass. And Kinnon pays for fish and then does nothing. Rogsai does what he can and passes. Like, he's struggling. He only has like 2 lands and nothing else to do. Magda, we convinced Magda to kind of like stall a turn. I showed them that I have some counter magic. We're concerned that Kinnon is just going to win the game if they don't leave up mana for the Vexing Bauble crack, because I need my Mindbreak Trap online, and I also have an offer you can't refuse. So I'm sitting there and like, I go for tap out on turn 2 to play my Rhystic Study. Kinnon just literally, again, just untaps, pays for Mystic, and still has nothing to do with his mana. Like, he has Kinnon out. He has exactly 7 mana, but he's paying for Mystic Remora instead of flipping, which is probably statistically the right play, but it's still in a very awkward spot. I get a few cards drawn, And at that point, we have this fight with Kinnan to kind of stop him going into his turn 4. None of us really have anything. I show my opponents that I can stop Kinnan, but I'm going to need help. And we end up stopping Kinnan. I use my Mind Break Trap after the Vexing Bauble was cracked, and Kinnan has to pass. Rogside didn't have anything, and Magda is so far behind because she had to take a turn off because of holding off with the Vexing Bauble. I get a couple Ristic Study draws, and like the last 4 Ristic Study draws I had before the game was over were Thassa's Oracle, Tundra, Tainted Pact, and Voice of Victory. And I'm like looking at my board, and I was like, just slam down a Voice of Victory, slam Thassa's, and then Tainted Pact. And my opponent shows me he only had a mental misstep. Like, if I didn't perfectly top deck, it was pretty much over at that point. I got the win. I was the first game to finish in my top 16, and I had to wait around for the next hour and a half.
Yeah, I think it would have taken.
That's a
nap.
long wait. Oh.
You had a long day. Like you were there. You started at 10 a.m. What time did you leave?
It was a 10 a.m. start. Now this is like, honestly, it's one of the best stores in Ontario. It literally has alcohol and food cafe. So it's like I'm just eating my dinner, waiting to kind of wait for the next round to start. And
In the store, like okay.
in the store, yeah. It's like you could order alcohol, take some shots, and play some games. So I'm just eating my dinner, watching the other games. The other matches end up being kind of like one of my worst outcomes. I didn't want to see the Elsha player, which is the reigning champion in first seat, win. He ended up winning. Then it was Yuriko. I was the next seat, and then it was a Kinnan player that I would have been facing in round 5 that we took the draw to kind of get the clean cut into top 16. So I'm actually seat 3 going into the final 4. Turn 2, this Elsha player plays an Unwinding Clock and has Elsha out. And I'm looking at my board, and I don't think I have much more time left. So I try to go for a last-ditch effort to beseech the mirror into Underworld Breach. And I'm looking at my mana, and I don't have a lot of mana. I have like 5 mana total. I have a Veil of Summer and a Silence in my hand, and a Beseech the Mirror, LED, and a Ristic Study in play. So I decide that I don't have enough mana and enough cards in the graveyard that I can silence right now. So I just cracked the Beseech the Mirror blindly. Go get the Underworld Breach. The Elsha player has like 8 mana open because of the Unwinding Clock on taps, and just fires off 4 cards from the top and then finds Orm's Chant to silence me right as my Underworld Breach resolves. Just no matter what, if I cast the silence, he would have done the same thing. I did forget that Beseech the Mirror could bargain my Ristic Study, which means I could have tried casting silence, and if I tried casting silence, at least I would have had my Beseech the Mirror for the next turn, but I didn't even get a next turn. The Elsha player just had such a huge dominating lead with basically getting to cast off the top of his library for the next each of our turns. Elsha unfortunately took the game. It was very interesting, but he's a 2-time reigning champ on Elsha at the biggest tournament in Ontario.
Kind of sucks, but I mean, you're losing to a former champion who kind of blew you out of the water by just storming through their deck. Like, you know.
Yeah, like if I was in a higher seat, maybe it would be different. Or if Yuriko could do anything other than just sit there and put a win on the stack, maybe the Orm's Chant goes his way. But unfortunately, that was my last opening. I knew he didn't have a counterspell, so I just went for it. I tried to Veil Summer on top of the Orm's Chant, trying to just last-ditch effort find a win con after he paid for Ristic. I draw 2 lands in a row while Orm's Chant is on the stack, and I get 1 more Ristic draw on somebody else's turn, and I hit a Pact of Negation. 1 card too low.
Oh, heartbreak.
Felt real bad. It was a heartbreak, but it was still a good time. It was a long night, so I was just glad it was over quickly afterwards.
You got top 4, though. What was the prizing for that?
Yeah, what'd you take home?
It was very top-heavy. The Tundra was like the dominating prizing. We were discussing of maybe splitting about $230 per player, which is like the total added up combined. But we ended up playing it out. I got a full art Force of Will for my
Nice.
win.
There
Not
you go.
bad.
It's good.
There was a Orcish Bowmasters, full art Force of Will, and a Fierce, and one more other card that I can't really remember. I just wanted the Force of Will or the Orcish Bowmasters to bling out my Kenriff deck.
Was it a fierce?
Yeah, there was a fourth card. So winner got a Tundra and another card.
Okay, I didn't know the winner got a Tundra and another card. That's pretty good.
Jeez.
Yeah, the winner got the Fierce. I can't remember what the the Yuriko player took.
If I was playing that
No,
tournament, I would
Kenriff
have
player.
played. I would have played Blue Farm. I wouldn't be on Azami.
Oh yeah.
In a bigger tournament like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how did your top four go?
I was in seat 1, Blue Farm seat 2, Sisei seat 3, and then that Ral player seat 4. Ral starts off quick. I use some interaction to try and slow him down. I have a Lotho. I get some treasures. The other Blue Farm players tutors, puts Necro on the stack. I don't have a counterspell, but I do have a silence. Oh yeah, Ral had a fish out. So we feed him some cards. The Necro player does, which I'm thinking is bad. Anyway, so there's a misplay. I'm talking to the Ral player because he knows the Blue Farm player. And the Ral player doesn't think the Blue Farm player is too experienced. So with my treasure, I talk to him. He wants to do this. I think it's a mistake. Like technically it's a misplay if he's a good player. I put a silence on during rated before his end step. So if you don't know, the silence would wear off at end step when he gets all the cards from his Necropotence into his hand. He also, Blue Farm played a turn 1 Smothering Tithe, so he has a lot of treasures here. He has about 6-7 treasures going into his turn, right? When he gets going into his end step, when he necroed down to like 2 life. He necroed for like 27 or something, right? So, and he also tutors. Imperial tutors on top. Imperial Seal is on top of his deck. So it's probably Born Upon a Wind, right? So it's for sure has the win. Put the silence on before he gets his cards, and he scoops. He thinks that lasts the whole time.
Oh no!
Me, the sissy player, I know the sissy player well. He's holding back a smile. I'm just like, because he says, silence. Yeah, that stops you. What can I do? And I just say something like, it's like, yeah, what can you do? It's like, that's what the other guy played. Like, where he was like, yeah, he's got you. Someone says that, like, we just kind of, I felt a little bad about it. I thought it was misplayed, but like, we're all looking there. The judge, I know the judge, he's nice. He tells him after, explains. We all just kind of hold your breath moment, right?
That Zach that was the Sisei player?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Good for
He
him.
knows. He's pretty good there. He gets up into the finals a lot. He's a good player.
Well, it seems like we all had a decent weekend. Oh, wow.
Oh, hey there, buddy.
Hey, James.
First time.
This is James.
Hi, James.
Hi,
From the
James.
show. So after that, the Ral player had enough cards in hand. He storms off. He ends up wheeling during his storm, and I draw into a Swan Song, a Fierce, Force of Negation, and a Pact. So I stop his storm turn. We go to my turn. I do nothing. Sisei player has done nothing. He has a Bloom Tender. That's it. We go back to Ral's turn. Oh, I did get a Deadly Ral. I kill his Ral, or swords it.
Well, it is what it is. You can only do so much.
Yeah,
it was a
you
good
still had a
game.
good time, and thank you very much for everybody. I think we're going to wrap up here as Andrew needs to put his kids to bed. Thank you very much for tuning in to Ignite CDH. I'll see you next week.
I'm really excited for the Star Trek set.
Yeah, Star Trek will be great. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some interesting sets coming out. I'm honestly probably more excited for Lorwyn. That's a set I always like. I wish I joined Magic in time for it. Kind of excited that we get to go back.
It's an interesting plane.
I came into it like Universes Beyond Time, the end of like 2022, the end of COVID, I guess. So I don't know all of Universes Beyond is just as magic is to me, to be honest with you.